Taylor, and I'm the owner of Mint by Lynn, which is a clothing and accessory shop on Etsy. So come and check me out. So let's get right into it. So this video is the start to end process of how I created a mini collection with Kai.Shi.Ba. So starting off, we have to create a concept, right? We had actually gotten a totally different concept start than what we ended up with. So one day we were together and we just kind of got onto the topic of how we both absolutely love birds. Love birds. Cute city birds, to be exact. And we were talking about it and we were working on it for a bit, but something just didn't quite feel right to me. I felt like I couldn't personally input my inspiration into it. It just kind of felt like very narrow of a path to go down. It was Kai that ended up suggesting we do more of like a cute, edgy clown vibe that's not Harley Quinn. So I'll admit I was a little skeptical at first, but it felt like I could work with that since clown vibes when I think of that, I think of like a bunch of patterns mixed matched together. So I'm definitely a little bit known for that. So we started going down that path. So first things first, we had to figure out the style that we wanted to really do. So we both wanted to surround it around a character, which it's always fun to kind of world build and kind of give them like a whole story. So we picked a style, and then Kai gave me some blank characters to work with, and then I kind of got to play dress up and sketch on top of it and start figuring out designs. There was one sketch in particular that I was drawn to and that Kai liked as well, so we kind of started there. Kai drew up the full thing in their own style, so kind of went for like the open jacket feel, and we were kind of mixing and matching around with colors. We tried a few different color palettes. Eventually we ended up scrapping the original color palettes and going with something a little different. We figured out a pose and started building up her character. We know we wanted to give her a creature to be with, right? And did you know that balloon cats are so ugly? I feel like Kai and I are both cat people by heart. We love dogs, of course. I mean, Kai's name is Kai.Shi.Ba. Like, makes sense. But no, the dogs were definitely cute. So we decided to go with the dogs. And it is definitely something that's a little bit more like notable, like when you see it you know what it is, you know? Whereas I feel like balloon cats aren't popular for a reason. So figuring out the background gave us like a huge obstacle. I swear we were on calls for hours, a few nights in a row, trying to figure out what we wanted to do. I was sketching random thumbnails at work on post-it notes, and I was asking my coworkers about ideas and stuff, and Kai and I eventually both had kind of the same idea one day. I had put together a mood board on Pinterest, and I kind of just put it together, and then I went into this call with Kai, and it turns out Kai had the same exact vibe that I did. I love that this happened multiple times, where we both just weren't feeling it, and then we were at the same time would just be like, let's do something different. So I had shown Kai what I was thinking about so we could get like a vibe of like poses and what we wanted to do. And then Kai came out and was like, I already did it. Haha. Kai suggested that we change up the outfit a little bit just to make the overall piece on the back a little bit more balanced, which I can agree with. There might have been a little too much going on. This is probably where we also edited down the color palette to be the kind of like purple, pinky red, and like a golden mustardy yellow. We both knew that we wanted like a text on top. We really had to think about it. We were like, what should we write here? So one day I decided to like, let's play a game where we each just like input stuff onto Discord, like a random like word or phrase, and we would kind of like pick things out from there. So we ended up landing on blow off, exclamation point, for like the dog and balloon kind of motif that we were kind of going for. So Blow off also means the end of like a circus performance when people are leaving the show. So it felt kind of perfect to give like, okay, balloons, circus, but also like F you, blow off, you know, like it felt like her vibe. So that's what we ended up with. So we are now at the point where this is called the blow off series. So now that we have the main design together, we had to discuss what clothing we actually wanted to put it on. So we both took a poll on our Instagrams first, just to kind of see the vibe, put out feelers, you know. When I was at Fan Expo Philadelphia, I actually had a few people who were like, hey, do you have a hoodie or like long sleeve something? And I didn't have one at that point. So it kind of just worked out and it made sense that this would be the direction that we were going in. We ended up on crew neck vibe because Kai and I both like to put collar shirts underneath our long sleeves. So yeah, that was kind of like we both like these, therefore we will do this. Next thing we had to do was kind of compare the style, fit, and price of getting things done. So we were kind of back and forth a little bit. I ended up buying 2 different samples. So I had one that was more of a fleece lined, and I had another one that was organic cotton. Okay, so I just had a really long discussion with Kai about the crew neck samples. So we decided on the organic cotton because we liked the rib knit on the cuffs, whereas the other one just had the regular sweatshirt fabric. The other one was fleece lined, but we all know from over time the fleece never stays soft anyway. I think this one just kind of feels nice and it's just as warm, which is surprising because it feels lighter, but it might be better for, we talked about like layering, like putting like shirts and stuff underneath it. It also has a slightly wider neckline up here, so that would make it a little easier to wear button down shirts. I would say the one thing we messed up pretty early on was the label. I like to make a little label that goes with each collection that kind of shows like what each shirt is from. The original design looked fine, like looking back, should have known, but the kind of gold versus white, I guess, is never a great thing to do in the end of the day. Even though we were like, oh, let's change it so it's like more contrasted text. I put it on the shirt and we were like, we don't like the yellow. We didn't like it, which was unfortunate because I had just bought new labels with the contrasted text. So I had to give them a call and be like, so I'm gonna need you guys to cancel that order. So we ended up doing a red label. We got that fixed, and I'm glad that I went back and like kind of ate the other labels because I do think these look a lot better. So it's always good to make sure you have a product you are putting out that you like, and so be it. Something else we were thinking about was the sleeve design. So do we want to do sleeves? Do we not want to do sleeves? So adding sleeves definitely up the price of like price per shirt. So we were really back and forth, and then at the end I was kind of just like, if we're gonna do this, might as well just go all out. So we kind of just went for it and we did the sleeve stuff. So we had a few different ideas for the sleeves, and ultimately landed on like kind of an asymmetrical sleeve vibe. They're still like the same length, but what is happening on the sleeve is different on both sides, and they have different colors. Let's talk about some of the other products that we were making. So we wanted it to be a mini collection, so because we didn't have too much time to really put together a full collection, so we just did a 3-piece collection. So I wanted to do another scrunchie because I really enjoy making the scrunchies. And then we also wanted to do a patch because I feel like scrunchies and patches do very well at conventions, and I think it's just kind of like a staple piece of MYNTH shop at this point. So I went through so many tests. I had no idea like what I wanted to do for the scrunchie at first. I knew I didn't want it to be very graphically too literal or look too childish. I definitely wanted something that could exist outside of the collection, that it didn't need to rely on the other collection to make sense. So I ended up on an abstract pattern that I ended up really liking. And what's funny, so my computer screen is like ancient. It is ancient. And then whenever I move artwork over from my computer screen to my e-reader, the colors just like pop off the screen. And it is crazy, just the absolute amount of like, whoa, color difference between the screens. I got the fabric printed. I had a larger scale and I had a smaller scale. You never really know how things are gonna play out in a scrunchie until you like do it, mostly because it gets all like scrunched. So it's kind of just like, huh? So the fabric that I get is a chiffon, so it is a little bit see-through, so you do have to get a lining to put with it. So it's always so fun thinking about lining because there's definitely a right and a wrong lining. So if you see here the white versus black underneath, crazy difference. So obviously we're gonna go black. The only problem that I had was that the fabric when it was printed was off grain. So as you can see kind of here, it wasn't laying square. When it laid flat, it was kind of like a parallelogram type thing, which is pretty bad because if you force it, it bubbles up and puckers in a weird way. So we don't like that. Luckily for me, this is an abstract pattern and not something linear like my watermelon Steven scrunchies that rely on meeting up at the ends. Or else probably would have had a problem. So that was great. We made the samples looked great, and then I ordered in the main fabric. So get the main fabric in. Unfortunately, it's the same thing, but it is what it is. I still made the most of it and they still look gorgeous. So it is what it is. We're also at the same time working on the patch. So we actually had, I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of stuck on the patch for a while. I think I was kind of locked in my usual ways of making patches that just weren't working well with this collection, because I'm usually like a collage type person when I do my art, so it just wasn't working. I kept like putting out little thumbnail sketches and sending Kai things, and Kai had some things similar, I think, to humor me. And then Kai actually pretty much created this patch themselves. I was trying to think of like a way that like, oh, like the balloon guy and the dogs are like best friends, and I was like, oh my god, but no. Kai knew what they were doing with this one, so I basically made scrunchie and Kai basically did the patch, but then I manufactured it and everything. Oh, something about the patch that was really fun is that in production, the first sample was perfect. That barely happens ever. So it was really fast to be produced, which was great because we were on a pretty tight deadline, because we had a convention coming up soon, which I'll get into more about. But the last thing we wanted to offer was a freebie gift for whoever were to buy something from our collection. So we really thought about it for a while, and we were like, stickers, this easy, that's pretty normal. But then, so I was at a convention earlier this year with some friends, and they had brought some temporary tattoos, which was so fun. And then like 2 weeks later, completely unrelated people also had temporary tattoos at their birthday party, and I was like, let's do a temporary tattoo. So yeah, because everyone was having a great time with them, so I was like, let's do it. So something that ended up just working out was that Vogue Race, who I get my acrylic charms from, they had put out a thing being like, hey, we're trying some temporary tattoos, come buy them. And I was like, that's perfect. So ended up getting that. It did arrive a little later because they were still in their testing phase, so they were kind of it was a little bit on back order, but we ended up getting it within a few days before our convention, which was like crazy. The crew necks arrived also within that kind of like small time frame before, so I did have some sewing on those to do. So on these I added the care labels in the back as well as the collection tag on the bottom. So I did personally handle all of these and did some sewing on them. I do like to have a little personal touch on most things that I put out. Okay, so finished sewing everything, and now it is time for a trial run at FlameCon in New York City. So this was kind of the debut of our collection. I hadn't posted about it before, hadn't done anything with it, and we were just like, let's bring it, let's see how it does. So thankfully, at least one of every product sold. Love that. that was the goal, right? Because you want people to like your things. Absolutely. So people liked it. Quite a few patch sales, quite a few scrunchie sales, and one crew neck sale, which we were super stoked about. I'm so glad it went well. A few days before the convention, we went out and did a photo shoot, and we started getting some content that we could start posting because a few days after the convention, we were planning to start our social media campaign. So what's really fun is that Kai put together this super cute draw this in your style contest. So that is still currently going on. So as of the video that I'm filming right now, I still have to do my major photo shoot, which is crazy to me because the drop is in like 4 days. Let's finish this up, and I hope to have a really good drop. Alright, so the photo shoot is complete, so that was super fun. It was my first time ever doing an actual set inside. I usually go outside and kind of see what the vibe is out there, but this was like a whole thing that I wanted to put together. I think it turned out really good. So I had a great photographer and a great model, so thank you guys for doing that for me. I hope you had fun as well. And then everyone else was also making some balloon dogs, and we were throwing stuff, and it was so fun. All there's left to do is editing, pretty much. So we have to edit and then I have to finish this video to go out tomorrow, and then I'll be putting the listing up on Etsy. So quite a little bit to do, but it's just a winding down process and getting everything launched. So after that, let's see, I'll be going to Baltimore Comic-Con next weekend, and then 2 weeks after that I'll be at Anime USA, so definitely swing by and check me out at my tables there. So I'm super stoked for the next few weeks, so it's going to be really busy. I'm going to be doing a lot, getting a lot of stock together, but I think it's going to be great. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all those things, to see what kind of goes on at the next few conventions, and I hope we can hang out again sometime. Yeah, bye!